you might not be familiar with Olympic lifts, but I highly recommend that anyone that wants to become fit or wants to look athletic incorporate some kind of Olympic lifts in their training. And Olympic lifts are technical lifts and very difficult to master, but there are variations of them that are simple to do. And as a beginning, maybe a first step for young athletes, but also for older athletes, is to use a medicine ball. So with the medicine ball, you can really learn the mechanics of Olympic lift. And it's usually a very safe alternative, and the risk of injury is much lower. So before I take any athlete into the gym, I always recommend them to do medicine ball throws. And you can do the Olympic lifts, the clean, the jerks, the snatch, very similar movements with the medicine ball. Now, what's so good with the Olympic lifts and why it's so widespread, I mean, almost any sport you're in, you're going to have coaches that tell the athletes, please do some kind of variations of Olympic lifts. And the main reason is that you have this so-called triple extension where you're using your hip, you're using the whole body, and you extend all the limbs. So it's very similar to any type of jump movement or really a movement where you need to reach out in a sport. And you might have heard that a lot of the Olympic lifters actually have really, really good vertical jumps because it's very similar to jumping. All the snatches and the cleans, the motion is very similar. And the good thing about these lifts are that they require very, very quick and heavy movement. And this is sort of a stimulus where if you're a regular gym rat and you do 3 sets of 10 repetitions of any movement, you might not be really effectively breaking down the muscle tissue. So by adding something like a very explosive and very heavy movement, your muscles will just get that impulse and the stimulus that you might have been missing out on. So even if you're not a performance athlete, you're not interested in jumping higher, throwing something further, or running really quickly a short distance, you will benefit from doing stuff quickly and really activating fast twitch muscle fibers. And there's 2 ways to do that. One is to do something very, very fast. The other is to use a very heavy load. So these are things that are not typically endurance type of trainings. I know that in some sports, they actually do Olympic lifts as if they would be something you would do for 10 repetitions or more. That's probably good for creating a pattern, but it gets quite dangerous, and there's a lot of injuries, of course, when you start to do cleans and jerks when you're fatigued. So these are movements that I had recommend that you do more than you do, 3 repetitions max, or 1 or 2, and you try to perfect the technique, and you have long breaks in between. So it's the same if you do sprints or if you do plyometric drills where you're doing jump box drills. You want to have very long rest periods so you can perform it with maximum effort. So if you're currently an endurance runner or you enjoy going out for long jogs, you still can benefit from doing Olympic lifts. And there's a lot of videos on Olympic lifts and how to learn the technique. You can try to do the easier variations first. Myself, I prefer to do stuff where I don't start from the ground. I start always a bit higher up. So hanging muscle snatches and stuff like that, because technically they're easier to do and I still get a lot of benefit from it. So even if your sport is not similar to any type of Olympic lifting, I still recommend that you try it out at least. And if you're a regular fitness enthusiast where you go into a gym to perform 3 sets of 10, you can try to mix it in with some medicine ball throws or some Olympic lifts. So if you have a back day, do some snatches in between the other, the pull movements that you have, and you will notice that your body will react in a completely different way, and you will be sore in a different way as well. And I think the best thing about it, of course, is that it brings variation. So it's not always the same routine. So especially if you're not into performance sports, this will actually help you even more and really keep your interest in the sport, because that's what I want you to do. I want you to be a fit businessman. I want you to keep training. It shouldn't get boring ever. So we need to mix it up a bit. And Olympic lifts, that could be the thing that will make it more interesting for you. So next time you go to the gym, give it a try and let me know how it goes. I'm Eric Snell, the author of the Fit Businessman book, and I'll see you at work.